Hey, I'm Ron Drotos from keyboardimprov.com, and thanks for joining me on day 23 of the Art of Keith Jarrett. We're investigating his music for 31 days, and even this wouldn't really be enough. So it's really a beginning, it's a jumping off point, it's a starting place, it's inspiration for you and me to keep going and really dig deep into each of these 31 days. And it's a whole lifetime studying someone and being inspired by somebody, not necessarily copying, right? It's about being influenced, taking the same path, if we choose, that he's taken. And one of the things that has fascinated me about Jarrett is his the influence of playing so much classical music on his playing. And it doesn't always come out in obvious ways, or at least sometimes when he's talking about it, he's talking about the ways that are less obvious. So for instance, he's played a lot of Mozart. And if you look at Mozart, you know, he played Alberti bass, right? You know, not as much as you think. It's not in all his pieces, and it's really not pervasive in Mozart like we think. But he certainly used that technique. So how would that come out in jazz? You might think someone's maybe doing something like... you know, arpeggiating chords in a certain way, but you know, maybe that comes out somewhere, or you know, he plays, you know, a Mozart sonata, right? You know, these scales. So okay, so next time you're playing rhythm changes. Maybe it gives you that technique or that feeling of expanse, right? Certainly there's some of that in Jarrett, you know, after he played so much Bach with the left hand technique and Shostakovich and everything, you know, his left hand had unbelievable technique, and you hear it in the Carnegie Hall concert and these other things later in his career where his left hand was freed up, and it's astonishing, right? But what he talks about when he's being interviewed, and I think there's a lot in an interview with Ted Rosenthal. Hey Ted, if you're watching this, Ted's an amazing pianist. Check him out if you don't know his playing already. And it's a great interview because it's musician on musician, and Jarrett really responded, opened up to Ted. So he talks about the touch, you know, how the touch on ballads, you know, being really sensitive to these infinite degrees of touch within one note, from louder, softer, or tonal quality. Because you can really focus on that in a slow movement of Mozart's where you know, you're not making up the notes, you don't have to think about that, and you can just, okay, you know, what is it, you know, these, you know, touch the touch, right? So when you're playing a ballad, you know, where would that come out? What's a ballad, Jarrett? Blame It on My Youth. You know, you can really experience it because he's had that experience in Mozart's music. Or he talks about when he was playing a concerto with an orchestra, and there was a few notes, I don't know, you know, like just C, D, and E or something. And just with the piano, the orchestra wasn't playing, and it was like a lead-in. And there was like a whole universe that opened in those three notes. No chorus, just three notes. And that comes from the depth that Mozart and those composers were going for. It's in their music. It can lead us to different experiences, which we, and Jarrett talks about it, we can bring it back, you know. So when Jarrett is playing a, you know, a little thing on a ballad, he's just like playing these one notes. You know, he's had that experience with Mozart, so you can bring it back to your own playing. So that's about 2 or 3 reasons to study classical music, right? It's not just technique like we're usually taught. So let's check out some Mozart slow movements, you know, sonatas or the concerti, whatever you're interested in, and see if you can sort of experience something and then bring it back to your jazz playing using Jarrett's example for us. So please leave comments, anything you're interested in. Let's support each other, enlighten each other. If you have any thing that you love about his playing, or comment on his classical playing or the influence. Let's learn from each other and support one another as a community. So thanks for being here, and look forward to number 24 tomorrow. Take care.